Right now on News 4, the city preparing for protests, with Donald Trump saying he expects to be arrested tomorrow. The tightened security with the Manhattan grand jury weighing this unprecedented indictment. Good to have you with us. I'm Adam Cooperstein, and President Trump is calling on his supporters to protest, saying that he expects to be arrested in the Stormy Daniels hush money investigation. Law enforcement in the city not taking any chances here, beefing up security as that Manhattan grand jury hears more testimony from a Trump ally today. And we have a team of reporters covering all angles of this historic development. Let's begin with Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Dienst with the latest. John.
Adam, a one-time lawyer for Michael Cohen, is expected to testify later today before that grand jury. He's a witness the Trump camp once heard to try to undermine the credibility of star witness Michael Cohen in this Trump Stormy Daniels hush money criminal investigation. One-time defense attorney Robert Costello is expected again to testify this afternoon. A source familiar with Costello's information says he's prepared to testify that Michael Cohen is a liar, a convicted perjurer, and embellishes stories. That Michael Cohen was a fixer who said he could help take care of the money demands being made by Stormy Daniels to Trump, and that later Cohen, a lawyer himself, would ask Trump for reimbursement. That Cohen wanted to show he could get this done for Donald Trump and that he thought he would be well regarded and rewarded for his efforts. After Cohen's legal troubles began, in a February 2019 meeting with Costello, Cohen allegedly told Costello he was furious with Trump, that Cohen blames Trump for his difficulties and wants Trump to pay and has been embellishing allegations, but that he didn't have much on the president or his family. The source close to the Trump camp says Cohen also said Cohen was suicidal after 2018 and that he once spoke of wanting to jump from the rooftop of the Regency Hotel. Costello will try to paint the picture of an angry and depressed Michael Cohen seeking retribution. Now, we know Cohen has said Trump directed the hush money payments and knew all along about the alleged scheme. We tracked down Cohen's current attorney, Lanny Davis, who said he can't talk about the grand jury proceedings, but he responded to the information coming to us from Team Trump earlier today.
I'm saying we have facts that Michael Cohen has presented and will continue to present as indisputably true. No argument that he wrote those checks. No argument that the Southern District prosecutors accused him and found him, as a matter of fact, to have instructed Michael to do what he did.
Again, Costello expected to testify before the grand jury this afternoon. Michael Cohen is on standby to serve as a rebuttal witness as the grand jury work continues. Adam?
Okay, an important development there from the investigation. Jonathan Dienst, thank you. Now, besides calling for protests, President Trump also using social media to attack the credibility of the man leading this investigation. Let's go to News 4's Sarah Wallace at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office with more on that. Sarah.
Well, Adam, in fact, the Manhattan District Attorney, we haven't seen him here today, but Alvin Bragg has largely tried to stay out of the spotlight. His policies, though, have generated a lot of complaints, in particular that he has been soft on crime. In fact, GOP leaders are now saying that he has let career criminals run on the streets while, in fact, then pursuing a politically motivated prosecution against the former president.
Over the weekend, former President Trump predicted he'd be arrested by tomorrow and called the Manhattan DA's investigation of 2016 hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels as prosecutorial misconduct and interference with an election. The Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, without naming Trump, sent a memo to his staff saying safety is our top priority and that the DA would, quote, not tolerate attempts to intimidate our office or threaten the rule of law in New York. As the NYPD gears up for possible protests, the DA stayed out of sight. He faced blistering criticism last year after two top assistants resigned. They were leading an investigation into alleged financial crimes by Trump and his namesake organization. Ultimately, the organization, not the former president, was charged and found guilty of criminal tax fraud.
As you know, this conviction was consequential. The first time ever for a criminal conviction, former President Trump's companies, and indeed I would go so far as to say the first time ever for any former president, certainly in my lifetime.
The former president maintaining he has never done anything wrong.
We have to get our country back. The DOJ, the FBI, the local prosecutors should all stop.
GOP leaders in the House have actually sent a letter to the district attorney telling him they want him to testify before them about his investigation. All of this as we wait for word from the grand jury. Live from Lower Manhattan, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
Okay, Sarah, thank you. Also right now, local, state, and federal law enforcement working together to prepare for what might happen if the former president is in fact indicted. News 4's Mark Santia continues our team coverage live from Trump Tower with that. Mark.
Yeah, Adam, we're on Fifth Avenue right now. I'm going to step out and give you a live look at what's happening right now. You can see there's an NYPD presence here, as well as some people rallying in support of the former president. It is typical to see officers here, but we are seeing more officers than usual. We've also heard from multiple law enforcement sources that a rally is planned for today here at this location, and that's why we're seeing more police. Now, we also know that the NYPD and other law enforcement agencies have been in contact with each other, discussing how to handle any possible protests or rallies, depending on if former President Donald Trump faces criminal charges. Now, this is not an unusual step, according to former Homeland Security Advisor Michael Balboni.
The New York Police Department is probably the most experienced police department, arguably in the country, if not the world, for dealing with these types of protests. And this area, Foley Square and Center Street, has seen its share of activity, whether it's been from a hijacker trial, whether it's very high profile individuals who are controversial. They can lock down that area very, very effectively.
5 seconds before.
Back here live at Trump Tower, where a rally has been planned for this afternoon. At this moment, we're not seeing any issues. We are seeing a police presence here. But again, Adam, no problems here on Fifth Avenue. We're live in Midtown. Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
And we'll continue to keep an eye on things. Mark, thank you so much. Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he does not want people to protest if the former president is indicted. In fact, McCarthy, a longtime Trump ally, says he believes Trump doesn't want protest either, despite his post online.
I don't think people should protest this, no. And I think President Trump, if you talk to him, he doesn't believe that either. I mean, I think the thing that you may misinterpret when President Trump talks, when someone says that they can protest, he would probably be referring to my tweet, educate people about what's going on. He's not talking in a harmful way, and nobody should. Nobody should harm one another in this.
McCarthy went on to call DA Bragg's investigation politically motivated and divisive. He says Bragg should instead focus his efforts on cracking down on crime in the city.